Hi folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more Altered. It's time for a little Ordis or a little Ordette, and my opponent's Bravo, so we're both picking, the meta factions, which is fine. They're up first, which I actually don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It does mean if I play the landmark, this one of course, that my opponent's probably going to get two, well, my opponent's definitely 100% going to get two movements. But hey, if you're not doing that, what are you doing? Okay, so basically, the question is, besides this, what two cards do I keep? I like the idea of keeping these sabotage cards. I do think it's very strong, and Bravos has such good stats that getting something out of the reserve is very powerful. The question is, what do I keep on top of that? This is really good later with, like, Kokoba, and if we get that really powerful landmark that costs 5, although if I'm playing this on turn 1, I don't know if I'm going to have the board state to be able to pull that off. This is a stronger play on turn 2 than this, obviously, because it costs more mana and has more stats, but at the same time, if I do draw another 2-drop, I could play this. Though, if I'm playing this on turn... This might not be a turn 2 play. Alright, fine, we'll try it like this. I could very well be wrong about that. Honestly, it would have been more comfortable to keep a 4-drop if I had one of those, but alas. Alright, so it's going to be really simple here. They're going to play something here, beat my token. I'm going to play the landmark, and they're going to move twice. That's just the way that you roll here in Ordis Town. Okay, honestly, it's about as good as I could possibly hope for, because that card has fleeting. So my opponent's going down a card to get the extra step, and they didn't need to, like anything would have done. So, I mean, if I'm going to be behind 2 steps in exchange for getting an extra 1/1 recruit every round, I might as well get a card up while doing that. And then next turn, I am going to have 2 1/1s to my opponent's nothing, so maybe I can catch up, although it's not super likely because I don't actually have like much to play besides this. So my opponent just basically needs to beat 1 token in 1 lane, and then they're fine. What would be ideal is if I could draw a 1-drop, not just to have the extra thing to play alongside this gatekeeper, but just to play something small so that my opponent has to commit their mana before I choose what lane to put this into, because maybe a 1/1 token, a 1-drop card, and the 1/1 token from this, creating 3 across the board, would be enough to block my opponent in one of the lanes and get a couple of moves myself. Okay, my opponent is going into a deep think here. Maybe they're trying to figure out, should I play that rat in my hand just to get it into my reserve? I think probably the answer is no. I do think the 1-cost rat is more valuable than the 3-cost rat coming out of the reserve. That's just my opinion. Alrighty, well, classic Ordis beginning here. Let's see what we got. We did get a 1-drop. We got a rat, and it's like the good kind that gets... Jesus, this is... Oh, I see. Okay, so the Bravos rat, the OG rat, is a 3/3. This is also a 3/3, except it's split across 3 tokens. Oh, man, we actually got the dream here. We got that and this. That's interesting. So this is more stats, but this is cheaper coming out of the reserve, and I still think I want to keep the spy for the next turn. Oh, man, I wish I could keep everything. I mean, I could just play the rat and this and then ditch the gatekeeper. That seems a little bit weird, though, because it's underutilizing my mana. Okay, I am going to get rid of the Ordis Trooper, and the reason is that with the rat, there's a chance of synergy with things like Charge or Kokoba, so I want to hang on to that, even though it's going to cost more coming out of the reserve. And so now I get to live the dream. We're just going to play this in a lane. I don't think it matters which one, because both of these lanes, these regions have 2 stats in them. And then I'm going to see where my opponent commits. And so I'm hoping that if they, for example, like put something big here, I can block them here with the gatekeeper, and then the token in the other expedition clinches this lane. We'll see how that goes. Now that would be a coup, because if I can go twice and my opponent doesn't go at all, well then I'm definitely in great shape, because I'm a card ahead, and I have this landmark pumping out tokens every turn. If I could even get one step ahead, I'd be pretty happy here. And that actually seems pretty likely for me to get one step ahead, where either I move twice and they move once, or I move once and they move not at all. Then I'm a step behind, and that's fine. I'm okay being a step behind as Ordis, well, against anybody, but especially Brav-TOAST, when they threw a card away in the first turn. Not that that was a bad play, but, you know, they went down a card in the first turn. So I think I would be in pretty good shape in that case. Oh, okay. We see what's happening here. So my opponent made a smart move. They also played a 1-drop to see where I commit my mana, and that is a problem. That means I'm probably not going to push 2 lanes. So I either get this here and have 3 stats across the board here, or I put this here and then have 2 stats across the board here. Okay, we'll try it this way, but I think no matter what, with 3 mana, my opponent's going to get to move. It would just be catastrophic if my opponent somehow moved twice, but I don't see how that could happen. I guess maybe if they had another one of these. All right, that's fine. So that just means that there was no way for me to stop it. Even if I had put the Gatekeeper here, the weak forest and water stats meant that I would have had 3 forest, 3 water, and my opponent still would have moved. So basically, would I have moved? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, that would have been better to have my Gatekeeper here, because then I would have had 5 desert. I would have moved off of that, and I would have moved off my token. So I would have moved twice instead of once. So I would have caught up a step instead of each of us moving 1 step. Okay. Should I have thought of physical training? I mean, I know this is a Brav-TOAST card. I could have played around it. Yeah, maybe that was the reason I should have played the Ordis Gatekeeper here. The little decisions make a big difference. Yep, that is easily the kind of thing that would cost a person the game, not getting to move a step. All right, so my opponent's 2 steps ahead still. They are still a card behind. I still am generating an extra token, though this is the turn that they get their big thing. These guys I'm not excited about, because I don't have the landmark that makes tokens bigger, and without that, I just don't think it's worth it. What are you? Target character with hand cost 4 or more. This is rough, because there are things I would hit with this, like the Titan, or that landmark. Actually, do I care about the landmark that makes effects cost more? No, I don't. Alright, I'm gonna keep the removal. We'll see if I can get a big swing with it. It is pretty bad card-wise, because it's fleeting. So it goes to your discard, but the card that it targets goes to... Oh no, it's not goes to hand, it goes to reserve or discard. Okay, so you can discard a permanent, though for Brav-TOAST, discarding a permanent is not that big of a deal, I don't think. All right, one major problem I have, honestly... Oh god, I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have discarded those recruits. That was stupid, because I have 5 mana and everything costs 3. So I can only play 1 thing. If I'd kept the recruits, I could have played 2 things. That was definitely a blunder. Oopsie. Okay, well, now we have a real tough issue, because this is understated. So if I play this to get rid of, a good card, like neither of these is actually even that amazing. Oh, my opponent's playing Sabotage. Okay, that's fine. I guess I'm alright with that. So what we can do now is, Jesus, this isn't good. They still have 2 mana, so they can't play their reserve stuff at least. Yeah, I guess I just, well, either I play, yeah, it doesn't matter, because they have a 2/2/2 in both lanes, so no matter which lane I play it in, I am winning that lane by a hair and blocking the other one. Oh boy, this isn't good. So if this is a 2-drop, my opponent gets to move in a lane and potentially get even more ahead of me. What is this? This is send a discard. Wait, what is the card? Target 4 or less to owner's hand. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. So I pass because I tragically threw it. Oh my god, if I had kept the Gatekeeper, I could have actually moved here. Or no, the Gatekeeper... Ah, we can't look at our mana cards. I think it's the 1/1/0. So actually, I would not have moved here, but I could have moved here. Okay, so I made a possibly game-losing error here by discarding those cadets. Because if I had kept them, I could have moved here. As it is, my opponent gets 1 and I get none. I could have kept even with my opponent instead of falling behind. And that's, you know, a big deal in this game. So the good news is that my opponent is way down on cards. And I generate 2 tokens every turn while being also ahead a card. So there is that. But this removal does not work because it's 4 or more. And these are obviously all less than a hand cost of 4 or more. So I can't, like, for example, wait for my opponent to put physical training on something and then discard it. Oh, man, how could I have... I should have gotten rid of this. I usually do. It's just I've been playing with Ysmir, and I've been like, oh, you gotta worry about your spells. You can't just throw all your spells away. But yeah, with Ordis, I should have just tossed this because it's so narrow. And I should have kept my Gatekeeper so I could have moved here. Yeah, with them having a 0 stat, my opponent still would have gotten to move. Oh, no, they wouldn't have because I had a token here. Right. So my 2 tokens, the one from the Gatekeepers and the one that I began with, would have blocked their Buddha. But I would have been able to move. Okay, it's scary. All right, so we got Kokoba, which is good. And we got another Sabotage. So at this point, I think I'm going to get rid of... God, do I keep... No, I'm gonna get rid of these seals. Whatever, man. We're going to get rid of them. Watch my opponent play like a huge 4-drop or something, or like the Titan, and then I just laugh uproariously. But my thinking is with 6 mana, I have Kokoba active, so let's just play the game. You know, let's put our spy down. Let's get rid of the rat. They're both 3/3s for 3, but this is less flexible because it can't go into an empty lane. It's a little bit easier for me to play around them having this. And they've got Kappa. Well, that's why I should have kept my sticky note seals. All right, so luckily we do have Kokoba, which is a 4/4. Yep, it just barely gets there. A 4/4 for 3. Nobody expects it, so we have 5s across the board. We block their Kappa. Unfortunately, my opponent is going to be first next time, so I'm not going to be able to sabotage away this Kappa. But we do get 2 big moves to my opponent's 0. We are still ahead on cards, and we still have Kokoba to counter Kappa. This is a 4/4/5. This is a 4/4/4, but I have a 1/1 token in both lanes, so just pound for pound, this holds up and costs 1 less mana. Now my opponent is going to get to play this and the physical training, and I threw away my sticky note seals because I am dumb. So, yeah, it's just a problem. My opponent can play their face-up cards and win 1 lane. But then again, I can also win a lane, and that's fine. I can even play Joan into charge next turn to maybe get a big turn next time. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of this Gatekeeper because I like the idea of keeping the Spy. Not only is this a 3/3 for 2 coming out of reserve, but if my opponent does make some weird play, like they play from hand instead of playing Kappa, I will be able to sabotage it away with the Spy. So I think I want to keep the Spy, and I also want to keep Joan and charge. Because if my opponent does commit most of their mana playing Kappa, then I can commit most of my mana playing Joan and still win a lane with Joan and Kokoba. Then I still get the recruits for the next turn to go with charge and hopefully get 2 big moves to my opponent's 0. Okay, so my opponent played Kappa. All right, so what I'm going to do here is... Oh, this is actually... So I could play the Ordis Spy and get rid of physical training, just pure card advantage, and make my opponent show what's in their hand. Then I can still win a lane with Kokoba. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right, so we're going to play the Ordis Spy. Not this one, though, because the Sabotage is only... Hold on a second. So the Sabotage is only a hand ability, so that's why I can't play the reserve one. But if I play this and Joan, my reserve fills up, right? So if I'm going to play Joan, it needs to be Joan now. Make my opponent commit which way they're going the physical training, and then Kokoba the other lane. Although, hang on. If I play Joan and my opponent plays physical training. Oh, no, they would play physical training here, and then I would still have to drop Kokoba out. Okay, that's fine. I just don't want to get into a situation where, like, I don't need to play Kokoba, and then I just fill up my reserve. Okay, so it's getting a little bit dicey because my opponent's going to move once, and I'm going to move once this turn. Had I moved a turn ago an extra time, because I played my cards in the correct lanes, there's only 2 lanes and I picked the wrong one, you know, that's pretty good, then I would feel much better. As it is, moving once, I don't win with a double move next time, so that's the issue. Okay, so we've got 4-4. Oh, this is a best case scenario, honestly, because, yeah, 4 stats blocks them here. I go up to 7-7 across the board. I guess the same thing is true on this side. Actually, let me think about that. Where do I want to block them? Do I want to keep them in the desert, or do I want to keep them in the forest? I guess keeping him in the desert makes sense, because this thing is weak on desert, coming out of the reserve. Okay, we'll play Kokoba here, which just barely blocks my opponent here while still allowing me to move. God, that is such a strong card. Gotta say, it takes some work, though, because I need this Ordis carrier. Without the Ordis carrier, Kokoba wouldn't be active. So we each move 1 time. So now if my opponent moves twice, they win. I don't hate my position, though. They're still playing with an empty hand, and I have got my charge this time. So my opponent really shouldn't move at all. The issue is, will I be able to move the next turn after hopefully moving twice this turn? I've got another Joan. I don't know if I want to keep that. I mean, it would be cool to play, like, okay, so I have 8 mana, right? Joan, charge, this thing. Oh my god, I messed up. Why did I play the one that doesn't have the ability? Oh my god, because that would have been an extra 2 stats with charge this turn. Okay, well, bygones must be bygones. So I can play Joan. I can play... Oh, why would I play this Joan? I could play this Joan, this Spy, and charge. It's just a little bit greedy, but then that means I don't need this Joan because I'm not playing her next turn. Okay, there it is. I figured it out. So I'm not necessarily playing Joan, but there's no way I was ever going to play the Joan that I just drew. Because if I Joan this turn, it would be from my reserve Joan, and then next turn I should be winning and not playing a 2-2 for 4. Okay, so I can play a Spy from hand for 3. If I then charge, that's 5, and I could still play this or this, well, I guess this to use the one in my hand, to make it 7. If I get Joan out, I could do Joan, Spy, and charge. So it's either Spy, Spy, charge, or Joan, Spy, charge. I either get to get rid of a card from their reserve, or I get 2 tokens next time. You know what? I like this move. I like this move a lot. Because my opponent has not sacrificed any mana. They've been always putting mana in, which means they're really low on cards. Okay, there is why I should have kept sticky note seals. Could have put this back into their hand. And they still have enough for physical training. All right, so this is going to be 6 in both lanes, which I'm fine with. I am fine with it. Yep. Hold on a second, though. Wait, one moment. Hold on. If I put this here, that is 4-4-4. And then charge adds 3-3-3. So I have 7 in both lanes. This is 6 in both lanes. Oh my god. Well, let's see if my opponent walks into the charge. It depends on if they've played this game. I mean, they might just say, hey, even if they're an expert and they've played this game a whole lot, like, they still just maybe have to do this to hope that they win here. They might realize, like, the writing's on the wall. But alas for them, I do have the charge. So I get a 7 in both lanes, which blocks their 6 in both lanes. And that, well, it's not the end, because they still have this in their reserve. They can still play this next time, and charge has fleeting, so I don't get to play that next time. So actually this game is not over, because I didn't play Joan this turn. My opponent could still move twice next turn and win, and they might be able to with this big hog, especially if they draw another physical training. You know what I'd love to see? Some sticky note seals. Well, I didn't get sticky note seals. I got a charge. It's a little bit less effective than last time because this one, I don't have the tokens from Joan. But let's see. With 8 mana, I can do 2, 4, 7. Oh my god, not enough. I can't like keep all these cards and also play charge. Crap. So I could do 2, 5, 7. I guess we're gonna get rid of this Frog Prince. Boy, it's a little freaky. It's a little freaky. So my opponent's obviously playing this. They also have the token here. If they drew physical training, I actually just lose because I got rid of sticky note seals. But you know, what can you do? What can you do? So this is the expedition where we need some extra oomph. So this one is 3, 3, 3. Because it's in the same one. This one is weird. It's like a 1, 3, 1. Okay, so we're going to put the bigger thing, which ironically costs less mana, here. One thing to consider, potentially, may have been to pile drive a lane. Instead of splitting these to try to win both, I could pile drive it, try to win one. Then I really should have done this lane. Oh my god, because this is a lane that has less stats. Because it just has the Titan. This one has the Titan and the Companion. All right, my opponent put a Sun Wukong there. All right, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that. That is okay. Because now let's see, this does nothing here, but, ooh, this is actually really good. Oh, man. I don't know if my opponent messed up or not. I mean, if they put this in the other lane, I think I still could have done this. No, I think my opponent should have put this here, because here, it would have locked up this lane, and Joan wouldn't be playable. But right now, I can actually play Joan here to win this lane. And then the situation is that the game is over because I moved once and I win. I was like, oh my god, that was dumb. That was bad manners. Yeah. Maybe my opponent, I just forgot that I only had to move once to win. I got so wrapped up with the possibility of my opponent winning with a Titan that I forgot that I was one move away from winning. So yeah, I guess they didn't draw a second copy of physical training, and so I won. Well, that was bad play by me, but sneaked it out in the end thanks to the power of Ordis. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.